What's up, guys? It's Christian here, and today I want to tell you guys a story. So, last night I was journaling because it had occurred to me that I was not really doing well in my head, and I wanted to get to the root cause as to why I've had these moments where my mental state would be described as negative and try to get to the root cause of why that is. Because there's always a root cause when it comes to mental health, the way I've seen it. Like, similar to how there's a root cause to certain pain in your body. Like, for example, in 2022, I strained my groin and I went to a physical therapist because I was like, dude, I've been rolling out my groin like with a foam roller, and I've been stretching it and icing it, and nothing's happening. What's going on? And he said that I needed the way that I needed to heal my groin was to strengthen my hips, and that was gonna help the groin muscles, right? So similarly, I say that because similarly, that's how it works with your mind and your mental health. Like, addictive behavior often is the side effect, so to speak, of some like root cause thing, right? So I went to my journal because I wanted to find the root cause of certain behaviors that I commit, and certain like negative thought loops that come into my mind. Like, why is this stuff happening? And so I went into my journal and I found, and I was like, let me analyze, let me think about these certain periods of my life where I had a low will to live. And when looking at these times, I came to a common denominator for all three of these distinct times. It was that they were times in which I wasn't doing well in school or basketball. And I associated me not doing well in those things to me not being worthy of living. Now, when I say that, it sounds like, yeah, of course you were wrong to think that way, right? But then I uncovered it some more. I, found that, like, I'll be honest, like, my parents achieved extraordinary things in their life. And so when I compare, like, my failures to their biggest highs, it makes me feel a certain way. And not only that, too, but I think the men watching this can relate to me when I say that a lot of our self-worth in the world, or not self-worth, a lot of our worth in the world gets determined by what we do. And so it's easy for us to then think, hey, if hey, my worth is probably dictated or determined by how well I do, in how well I perform in school and work and sports and whatever. My performance, like, good performance means good worth. Bad performance means bad worth. And so that to find that this was a horrible mistake that I had been making was really important for me. And it was important for me to find that, especially because I can, tell that to you guys. And if you're like, especially like if you're an athlete watching this, like, don't put your worth into your sport, right? You're a student. Don't put your worth into how good you are in school. I know, like, we've got a very performance-based society that puts a heavy emphasis on hustling and achieving things and everything. But you, like, for the students, you are a person. You are a person. There is a person outside of school, outside of activities. There is a person, and that who that person is, that's where your self-worth should be. Like same for the athletes and people who have jobs and everything. Like the person. That is where you get your self-worth and who you are. And if you're not yet satisfied with who you are, regardless of accolades, achievements, blah blah blah, if you're not satisfied with who you are, I want to let you know that you're in 100% control to change that, and you have the opportunity to create the person, to create a person who you would admire. And then, as Wes Watson says, create the individual that you admire and give that person to the world. That's exactly what I'm trying to do, and you have the opportunity to do the same thing. And so that's the main message that I wanted to tell you guys, is that don't base your self-worth on your performance. Base it on who you are rather than what you do. But of course there's a caveat to this. Like, as I said, we are tempted to base our self-worth based on what we do, because that's a lot of how society perceives us, right? And so if we think, it's not flawed logic to think, oh, if society, bases my worth if society gives me a perceived worth based on how well I do in X activity, then my worth must be based on how well I do in that X activity. But as I say, this is destructive, because when when things go bad, you get low, and then when things are good, you get into this high state that like strokes your ego really bad and almost gives you a sense of delusion as to who you are. And so, but anyways, the caveat that I wanted to express is that in some way, like, this is a side effect, if I'm going to be honest, this is a side effect to being a really driven person, is that you will catch yourself, thinking that you're not worth anything if you fail, and thinking that you're worth everything if you succeed. And I want to let you know that that's not true. It's just not. And in everything, make sure that the individual, the person at the core, is who you want that person to be. And even if you are in a time like I was before, where things are not going well for you, and you associate those failures with your self-worth, I want you to know that things won't always be this way. Things won't always be this way. If you keep going and you put one foot in front of the other, and you keep striving to get better, and you never quit, things will turn out for you eventually. It has to. You're working too hard for things to not go your way. Now it's up to you, however, to keep the faith that things will turn out better. Otherwise, it just won't happen. And that is something that I had to learn the hard way. I mean, I went through quite a lot in the last 6 months to a year or so. And I'll make a video when I'm ready to talk about everything and the lessons that I've learned from that. But that's what I can tell you. Your self-worth is not based on what you achieve. Your self-worth is based on who you are. And it's up to, and you have to continue to build who you are, because then when you love who you are and you have created the individual that you admire, when you do achieve stuff, it amplifies who you are, and you're able to give that person to the world to have a positive impact on them. So yeah, just wanted to let you guys know that your self-worth is not based on what you do or don't achieve. It's based on who you are at your core. All right? I love y'all. Take care.